The information expressed in the following podcast is intended for educational purposes only and was created by and belongs solely to Believe Limited and the Flow podcast and does not necessarily reflect the views of our sponsors. Please speak to your healthcare provider before making any medical decisions.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Welcome to Flow. I'm here like every month with Sarah Watson, sex therapist, and this month we have Alexandra Monzón, creator of Paloma, Fairfax, nurse practitioner. We're going to talk all things periods, but first we want to know, how's your flow? Welcome once again to Flow. We're going to do a quick check-in, normalize the reality of menstruation with talking about where we are in our cycles, in our flows, hormonal, menstrual, whatnot. Sarah, how you flowing?
I'm feeling luteal, I think. So, yeah. But I think what is really fun to share with our listeners is that after our last recording, I was like, oh, ovulation can happen. We were talking about it during.
Yeah.
And magically the next day, there it was. Goodbye, little egg. It was a lovely feeling. I was so right, and it felt great to be right. And then the pain of my middle schmerz went away. It was great.
So was it the pain? It was how you knew that it was ovulation indeed?
It was a pain in the combo of the cervical fluid for sure. Like,
yes, the cervical mucus.
Yes. It was,
Yes.
It's always a delight. It's very clear, but not clear to me.
Wait,
in
is yours
regard-
not clear? Wait, is yours? Because mine's like, it was like cervical would be like watery, like egg whitey.
Egg whitey. Yeah, mine was like, I think I honestly think it's because of the vitamins. I could be so wrong that I'm taking that's a little tinge of yellow, just a touch, just a tiny touch.
Intrigue.
Yeah, just a touch. But it is, we know I feel like that's what that is. I know what that is. So, yeah.
Great. Well, and Alexandra, do you find that cervical mucus is a great indicator in your line of expertise? Is that an indicator of ovulatory reality more than, say, basal temperatures or other things that might indicate?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I haven't done the study on either.
Okay.
If there's more research on which is a better indicator or not. I will say that in my experience, patients do talk about cervical mucus more than their basal body temp. And now that I know more about my personal basal body temp due to this guy, the Oura Ring, but I also don't cycle, but it's always telling me it's going up and down and I should be getting my period, but not once a month, more than once a month.
Wait, first of all, that's the Oura Ring. I heard about it, but I thought it was like the Nuva Ring, or I didn't know what it was. It's you wear it. It's a ring.
When people started talking about this a couple of years ago, I thought it was also like that, but it is a ring.
Wow.
And it's on your USB. It's USB, and it tracks your sleep, your steps, your cycle, your stress, which is interesting to watch and see. Sometimes I have a line that just goes straight up.
Wow.
Sometimes it's a creepy up. My kid is freaking out, and I start freaking out. It goes straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it happening in the moment. You watch later.
Right.
But I'll be like, oh, what time? When was I losing my shit? At that time? Yep, that's right.
It can
It's tracking your heart rate.
Right. So then it's going to see the spike if you're, How fun.
That sounds
I
exciting.
love it.
So it tracks
Mostly
where you
for
are.
my sleep.
Okay, but it tracks where you are in your cycle, but you don't flow. You don't have a menstrual flow, but you still have your hormonal flow happening? Or do you have a secret stop? What's happening?
No, I have a Mirena IUD.
Okay.
Same. Woo! That's the best.
Yeah. So I don't have a flow,
Right.
but I also I've tried to see where I am at certain times. I can't tell. Every once in a while I will have honestly, I know when I'm ovulating when I wanna have sex.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Also,
you're hormonal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Also
hormonal, sure. But in terms of like unless I'm really going in there to check out cervical mucus, which I'm not, then I don't know personally. And then this is not going to tell me anything.
Right.
I mean, it just says like you should be getting. I'm on cycle day 170 or something.
What?
Because I haven't. It's like how long I've had the ring
Right,
for.
got you.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if a ring could tell you like your arousal is up? If like if we need like a little robot to be like,
Well, I
I
mean, the
would
first
love
time
that.
after I got it, I
Mhm.
was like, oh my God, does it know I had sex? Does it know I had, but it didn't say anything different.
oh, when is the
I wasn't
AI going to
stressed
track
or
us?
relaxed or any of it.
Gotcha. Dang. Well, y'all, I'm the one bleeding in the group, and I'm actively bleeding right now.
Ooh.
So fun for me.
Congratulations.
Yes, we
you.
love it. It's a new
It's all
vibe,
going
another vibe.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it.
And it's like I feel this one side. First of all, I have a hemorrhoid. Let's get real. And like sometimes I have them, and sometimes I know I'm like, oh, that could be related to this or that or digestively or this, just like the occasional occasion. But man, it's rough. And I could imagine this with ongoing cramps and all the other symptoms that can come with things. Like, oh no,
That
it's not
sounds
the most
terrible.
That's why I have a Mirena.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Are you bleeding enough for the both of us?
Yeah, I am. All three of us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I meant it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I can. Just like Paloma Fairfax is doing what she can. What an amazing educator out there. We're going to learn
Yes.
about where she came from, the origin story of this heroic character. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor.
This ad is brought to you by Von Vendi, Von Willebrand Factor Recombinant.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I didn't always feel empowered to speak up for myself or ask for the care and support I needed. Becoming part of a community and hearing other people's experiences helped to change my perspective. That's why my deciding factor is making my voice heard. To hear my story and access other helpful resources, drop by Von Vendi, that's VONVENDI.com/patient-stories.
And we are back, flowing with Alexandra. Paloma, we talked about our flows. I don't know how to ask where Paloma's flow is or about. We just need the origin story, I think.
Where'd she come from?
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think about this because there's a couple of different answers, but I'm just, where do I start? Paloma Fairfax and the Nurses Station was really born out of a couple of different things. Before I became a nurse practitioner, I studied dance and acting and performance art. And I had a very creatively strong background and had zero idea I'd ever go into medical side. No one in my family, just zero idea. But have always loved have always been pretty much obsessed with women's bodies, the way we move our bodies, the way we use our bodies, whether it's with dance, whether it's with sex work, whether it's with poetry, however. And so women's health, women's things have always been my thing. And so I went into becoming a nurse practitioner, and it all kind of just in nursing school, a couple of girlfriends, nursing friends, and we were going to get a slot on a public access television, and we were going to do this thing called the Nurses Station, but our slot was at like 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, so like clearly no one was going to watch it, and we weren't even finished with nursing school yet. So I think the idea, we wanted to have like a black stage or like background with like wear these old like white nurse outfits and kind of make it look like a little spacey, and then we were just going to answer questions, and I'm not sure who we thought was going to ask the questions or where we were going to get them, but that is where it was going to be called the Nurses Station, because the Nurses Station, as you might know, is a place where you go to for answers. It's a place where you go as a patient. It's a place where you go even as when you're a nurse, you're like, what am I going to eat for lunch? The menus are behind the Nurses Station. It's where you get the goss, the tea, the chisme, the info, okay, the charts, the crying, the laughing, the farting, any of it. It just happens there. And so I don't know, that was a nursing school. And then this idea was brewing in my head. It also comes out of when I was in nursing school, I learned I had a learning disability, and I didn't know that. I would take exams and I would study for them, and I wouldn't necessarily fail them, but I practically would fail them. And I would go seek help, and everyone was like, well, you used to get good grades. This might just be different. But it's like, I got good grades because I was dancing and I was writing, or just something that I wasn't taking exams. I wasn't taking tests. And so I kind of owe a little bit of this to Khan Academy. Are you familiar, either of you?
No. What's Khan Academy?
So Dr. Khan is I don't even know what kind of physician he is. And I haven't been on Khan Academy in a very long time, but I found him on YouTube, and he's a Harvard professor who would like draw out like cells and how different science things worked. And when I learned more about this disability and just like my anxiety and how I learn, I realized, thinking I was always a visual learner, that I'm an auditory learner. And so also thinking about teaching people about their bodies and making sure that things would stick. Why not present them with these short videos where they're pleasant to look at, they're educational, and you're hearing this, you know, and so you're hearing and seeing and kind of trying to understand things just the way I learned, and we all learned, aka Sesame Street.
Yeah,
you know, like all of that Schoolhouse Rock. And anyway, and then so I know I'm all over the place with this, but essentially I didn't want to do it when I became a nurse because I felt like I needed to be an NP, or like I needed to have more like cred. And then last year, this idea has been brewing in for like over a decade. Last year, I came back from a family vacation with my mom, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I met a friend of a friend who did the illustrations. My really great friends, Jacqueline and Matt of Wait, Think Fast, did the music, the song. And then a girlfriend of mine, Corinne Coette of the Black Widows, which is a really cool band and activist group in Minneapolis. She does like the background music for each episode. And so, yeah, epic. That's how it came about. I just wanted to give it all to you.
Epic. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pause. We're going to play the music.
A little knowledge goes a long way, and access to a little science keeps the pain away. Oh, research, HPV, IUD, PMS, STDs, menopause, birth control. What you don't know can hurt you. Tell me something I need to know. Paloma, Fairfax, and the nurse's station. Paloma, Fairfax, and the nurse's
I'm turning it down. Wait a minute. So this is amazing. Okay. That is so fun. That's I want to go to the rock and roll show for that soundtrack. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I've been talking about this for so many years and sharing it with so many friends. And when it was time to come, I think friends were just really excited to jump at it. And especially my pals, Jacqueline and Matt, they're like, what's your inspiration? I threw out some bands, and it's exactly what I wanted. And it's such a great song, and it's catchy, and it's fun, and it's like, yeah. So that's Paloma, Fairfax, and the nurse's station.
Nice. Brilliant. And like you've already touched
now I just need the money.
Yeah. The money. Well, yeah, for educational, entertaining content. Yes.
Yeah, I'm working with these sisters in Mexico City who do the social media content. But it ain't free. So I've been funding it myself, and I will be looking for funding in the near future.
Amazing. Well, let's talk around why funders should get excited about this. Why is it so needed? Why is it so missing? And or why is this the way to access people's minds through entertainment? Why is it hard to bring into schools? Do you know? Can you talk about it?
Gosh, you know what? That's the first thing I thought about when I was making these. I was like, this is great. Portland Public Schools, San Francisco Public Schools, New York City, LA. I was like, they should buy this. You know, I don't, maybe, we never know. I think about Portland because it's, keep Portland weird and it's cool. And, Matt Groening's from here. I don't know. There's, they like The Simpsons. They like Paloma Fairfax. I think that people should fund this for a lot of reasons because we lack proper reproductive health for sure in the States. But it's not just that. It's that in addition to like feeling shame and or being nervous, or it's scary if you have sex the first time, you don't know where to go, what's happening to your body, or you're bleeding and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Like, why am I like creaming red? Or why, like what's happening? And so I think that there's a lot of different reasons, and people are ill-informed. They're, I can throw lots of shade to like TikTok and Instagram and all these different things, but I also think that there's good information out there. I got my information, I was really into all this stuff probably, when I was a lot younger, high school, and I was looking at zines, and I wasn't looking at the Planned Parenthood website, but I was definitely looking at Planned Parenthood pamphlets. And which, that's a a resource that's been verified as accurate, but like maybe the only reason I'm bringing up the zines thing and kind of trying to compare it to TikTok is like I could have been reading bad information, and people can be also absorbing bad information. But I think there's a lot of good information and bad information, but then there's also the access to care. And for me, Paloma Fairfax, because I want it on YouTube, because it's free, because there are these 2-minute videos, I'm providing access and information. It's not supposed to be medical advice.
Yeah. Right. So maybe we jumped around a little bit, but can we talk about what, like, if you were to tell someone who had never met Paloma before, from her name to the fact that it's in 2-minute chunks, why specifically Paloma?
I say that they're 2-minute they're 2-minute animated reproductive health videos for educational purposes.
Okay.
Essentially,
and Paloma's
it is medical advice.
It is medical, okay.
In a way.
Yeah.
It is medical advice. I'm also a board certified nurse practitioner to be giving this advice. And however, I'm only certified in California or New York, so like there's these things like, I don't, you probably know more than I do, but if someone in Nebraska reads it and they listen, then it's like, well, so it's not medical advice.
Well, it's not medical advice that the patient should take as personally directed to them. It's advice that is in the medical field that could be helpful if you also discern its relevance to you as a listener of the advice. Yeah. Okay, but so it's advice, it's 2 minutes. And what is Paloma's perspective?
Paloma is a community health nurse practitioner, and her perspective is she's a casual, tell it like it is, no bullshit, super fun Mexican Jew from LA giving some advice. You could throw the Mexican Jew thing out of there if you want. I don't know. I'm just like, she actually she's not religious. That's for sure.
Okay.
We
talk about that.
Yes, we do.
And like, why? Because religion and menstruation don't really belong together. We need to talk about menstruation as a vital sign of the body, not as a religious facet, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Dare I say?
That's true. Very true. Yeah. But that's her identity, is community health. She's like a little bit Maria from Sesame Street, a little bit Cher from Mermaids.
Oh,
she's a little bit Carmen Santa Cruz, which is my mother, who's a flamenco dancer, and sassafras pants, and she's me. She was never supposed to be me, honestly. I just thought about this idea, and it was never going to have like Paloma Fairfax and the nurses station. It was just going to be the nurses station. But when I was talking to one of my tias about it, my tia Lorena was like, it has to be you. You need to have a caricature of you. And so obviously I was like, well, that's cool. And so it was kind of fun being like, no, I want my hair up. No, can you make my hair down?
Yes.
You need to be wearing this.
So fun. So fun. Why 2 minutes? So like talk to us about like the 2-minute chunk of videos. Like what's that about for you?
All I could afford.
Hey, honest, it counts.
Hey,
so there could be a feure film. There could be a feature film. Paloma Fairfax.
Oh, yeah. But I also think 2 minutes is good for people to. So the only one that's done is on medication abortion. Mm-hmm. And the idea was that, I'm going to fund this myself because for some reason, if this never takes off, which it still, it doesn't, at least somebody wherever has access to this, it's on YouTube. The person who I met who was going to do the animation part was like, this is how much it is for 2 minutes. I'm like, cool, can't afford any more of that. So I made it 2 minutes. People's attention span, it's easy, it's fun. I also have two really, really, they're sisters, and they work, one's works for medical literacy, and the other one is a midwife who edited a lot of this. And they were like 2 minutes is perfect from what we could see for just like attention spans, retention. It's for anybody ages, I would want to say like 9 to end of life, awesome. And I mean, isn't that like what we're all doing these days? Like I know I'm in bed, like scrolling for like a second, and then I'm like, oh, no, something else.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love 2 minutes. Yeah. No, one. Sure. That totally makes sense. But I think anything that you watch, right, whether it's a reel or whether you're on TikTok or whatever, like if it's longer than 2 minutes, I'm out. Like
totally.
I'm just not going to stay unless I'm really, really intrigued in some crazy, crazy ass story. But
I get it. And There is one that I'm like, so we're going to do the menstrual cycle soon. And I'm like, I can't make the menstrual cycle in 2 minutes.
No.
I can't.
Yeah, absolutely
I can't
not.
do that in 2 minutes. And I'm also like, that's part of it. Like when you're the clinical person doing it and writing it, I'm like, is this like way too much clinical content? But I also want to make sure that people understand like what is going on and like knowing what those terms are. We just made this little menstrual cycle dictionary for what's a part of. And yeah, so that's why it's 2 minutes.
That's perfect. I love it.
Make 2 or 3 minutes. Okay.
Perfect.
And so bite-sized, topic-based intel drops from Paloma Fairfax. What's in the name? Does she have an origin story in the name?
Why Paloma?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Paloma, Mexican Jew.
Oh, great. Okay.
Fairfax, LA.
Okay.
My mom's from LA, and she went to Marshall High, not Fairfax High actually. And
Cool.
what was that?
Cool.
And Paloma is also, it's a dove. It's a messenger of information. It's some would say it's a pigeon, but it's a dove. Okay. And I think birds are also this symbol of bringing information to the masses.
I love that.
Great.
So good.
So that's yeah.
Today, it's cool to write a book. It's cool to have the intel. We go through, Sarah, you do amazing book clubs, right? And recommendations. And like we have this intel, but sometimes you need to get it fast, particularly when you're in pain. Are there any videos you could point to that, or information, if not a video, information you've gotten to give a patient? Because rewind. Let me tell you how I got to meet the creator of Paloma Fairfax. Not only am I a fan on Instagram, and YouTube, but I go to Tia. I've talked about it, and TikTok. I've talked about Tia on this show before, and I had a great virtual appointment with a nurse practitioner who turned out to be the creator of Paloma Fairfax. And so I don't mean to out you as a practitioner in this way, but if you are able to share any time when you've been able to give education that's truly helped a patient, whether it's a video you've created or in the room, that delivering of intel and how life-saving it can really be, much like your theme song says.
I'm going to start crying, and here's why. Because today I actually had a patient who was who had for medication abortion today, and I had just talked to my head hefa, the head honcho at TIA, our chief medical officer, and I was like, can I tell their providers to give this to send this video off afterwards? Is that okay? I don't know if it's a conflict of interest, whatever. And she's like, of course, please, like, that's great, let's do it. And so I was wrapping up this visit, and I was like, oh, you know what? I made this short video. It, you might have some questions. You're going to have it all in your care plan, etc. But here it is. And she's like, oh my God, I've already seen this. I was like, stop it. I just did this. Like, it just came out on Mother's Day. And I just was like, oh my, it's all I've ever wanted.
I love that.
So it's really, I feel like this is really a labor of love.
Oh.
Yes. To get the intel out there, to help people who know the intel will be comforting and supportive of where they are.
Yeah, and she's like, it made me feel so much better. Oh. And I had zero idea you did this. So it was really cool.
It's really like secret identity style. Like, what?
I know. I just like...
Yeah, you're like, and that was mine.
I know. It was just so random. And so I think that was really... If I really want to be super honest about it, I mean, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. I really, really do. But like, I'm thinking about people with zero resources and insurance. I see an insured population, but my roots and my training and I'm so old. My years of experience are in community health. Yeah. And so that's who I really want this for. And it's in Spanish, and I have it coming out in Mandarin and Vietnamese too.
Oh, epic. Excellent.
Amazing.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I'd like it in every language. I also have it in French because a friend did it, but I'm like, I don't know how useful it's going to be right now, but it's okay. I mean, it is.
Eventually.
It is.
Yeah. But
yes, it will, but like our Quebecois folks I think they've got Canada.
They've got Canada.
Which is like its own set of problems, I know, but whatever. Anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. So going back to there's a lot of moments where I can give patients, were you asking like resources in general or just where I feel good about?
Well, I mean, that was a great example that you have that you are impacting people, and that it is so important that you're using the mediums that are available to reach people, like you said, from 9 to elder age. What did you call it? To end of life?
I said 9 from end of life. Yeah.
Yeah, that people of all ages need to learn this. Why? Because even if they're
Yes.
past the experience of menstruation, are in a part of life when it might be helpful to reflect upon their health and body journey with the information they didn't have. It might be helpful now for them,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
Yes.
well, the possibilities are endless. We have one on postpartum. We have one on menopause. What about, like, I don't know, if you're still getting down in your 70s and your 80s and you're way postmenopausal and you've got a dry vagina,
Right.
like what are, like it's or diabetes,
Yep.
blood pressure. There's a lot of primary care. Like, honestly, because at first I was like, I think I've got to go a good 20 episodes. And then I was just like, what am I talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
you can keep going and going and going and going.
it's forever.
Yes, it is forever.
It's forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for everyone, but I'm definitely starting it off with all the reproductive things that I know and that I talk about on a daily basis.
And talking to them on a daily basis, do you find that there's any one thing that people are mostly missing that's new information to the most people?
I don't know. I think hormones. Like,
Yes.
Like which one?
biggest.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say I don't think they're missing hormones. I think too many people want to have hormone labs when they don't necessarily need it. I think there's a lot of misinformation about what PCOS is or what, people aren't saying, I think I have adrenal insufficiency, but like there's not a lot. There's a lot of just like, I have PCOS because I have A, B, and C, and it might not have anything to do with that. Or I don't feel well. I want hormones. And their hormones, of course, contribute to a lot of our feelings. You know that, but there's also something as like treating your symptoms and not treating your labs. Like, I don't treat labs. You can have something wrong and I'll run your labs and they might be off and they're like, oh, well, that's why. Or you feel off, but your hormone labs are fine. It's like, okay, but you still don't feel well. So we have to figure out, like, we're going to treat you, not those labs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that I feel really passionate about. Also, a big one, which ladies may not know or may know, a lot of people do not know the difference between a UTI and a yeast infection. Or like bacterial vaginosis or a
That I
vaginitis.
could see.
and
Yeah,
a UTI.
yeah. But really, because yeast infection versus UTI, such different pain, at least
Different
in my
pain.
body.
Yeah, different. I feel like too. But
Yeah, but even
Strong.
BV
Yeah,
is, to me, it's just like they're two different systems.
sure.
And a lot of people don't know the difference. And I've had countless conversations with patients where they're like, yeah. And then like the UTI and like the itching is so bad. I'm like, wait, where are you itching? Like, and then I'm just like, oh, right. Yes, so I do a lot of like the difference between the three of these things because they're both very common, especially if I'm seeing mostly,
Yeah.
females.
yeah.
Interesting.
So that's, and this is not just this is an educated population. This is,
Yes.
this is, yeah.
So what and why do you think? So we're speculating here. We're not. But just contributing to the ongoing conversations and research. Why would that be? Why are those two things confusing? Is it a lack of information about where those two parts of the body are operating out of, or a lack of sense of feeling the difference between where those two parts of the body are impacted?
I think it's both.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of these ladies really need to masturbate
Yes.
or like know what's happening or like feel what's going on, like just like take a nice peek.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't look, or I get a lot of like, yeah, I have this down there, and it's so interesting when people are still saying down there. And down there, I get a lot of, yeah, I got this down there.
You're like
it's a separate part of you. Like it's not part of you. Like it's
yes.
separate. Yeah.
I see that. And with my clients too, like they don't recognize that their vulva is actually a part of them.
So how is that? Yeah. Wait. So and Sarah, in the capacity of relationship and sex, in that patterns, what are you? People are associating their desire as separate from who they are, or you mean physicality, just also like sensory wise?
Both.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we do exactly what Alexandra said. Like that, like my first step is, we're going to go look at your vulva. Not we, but you are going to after our session. Right. And you're going to even maybe start with if you are partnered, to have your partner look at your vulva and just describe it to you if you're in a comfortable, safe, loving relationship, caring relationship. And then like, okay, now let's get into it by yourself. See how that feels, or vice versa. Just so that you can connect to your body. Because if you're not connected, then you don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. Can you have them look at their urethra too?
Yeah. Oh, I do the whole like spread eagle. Like this is what, like there's a diagram. It's a whole situation.
And so that's another reason I will say, like when my years at Planned Parenthood or Mission Neighborhood Health Center in San Francisco, that's another thing. I was just all these ideas were just constantly brewing out of I would walk out of a visit and just be like, okay, this is obviously there is a need for this. I mean, I'm with my 3-year-old and we're like in the shower peeing on each other. And I'm like, this is where the pee's coming from. This is where this is coming from, we don't use the real anatomic words, which I think is a little bad on my part, but I just think the other words are so fun.
Okay, can you share? I'm just
sure.
Like,
what are your
if
fun
you're open
words?
to it?
Yeah.
Well, I call her, her vulva, her vagina, her choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Coochie.
I don't know. I think we called it chocho growing up, and so I don't know why you're choo-choo, and then I think I said something and then just stuck with choo-choo. But I mean, she loves her choo-choo. She loves to show me her choo-choo. She likes to, and I think we're going to change that soon. It's going to evolve. And then we call pooping bingo, but that's because I was also raised on that. But she also calls it shit.
I love her.
I love that your cute words for poop are bingo and shit.
That's great.
Yeah. No, she's just because I'm always like, we got to pick up the dog shit. What's the dog shit? It's dog poop. And then she'll be like, Mom, I got to take a shit. And I'm like, okay, just say that indoors. Just say that at home.
Yeah, don't say that at school or daycare or whatever. You can, and that's how we if anything, I swear like a trucker. So my daughter knows not to say even without us having the conversation, she knows you don't say that at school, but you can say it here. I don't care. As long as you use it appropriately. It's cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was like, you can't call anyone stupid. You can't ever call a woman a bitch or crazy, but you can say shit and fucking all the time.
Yeah. Love it.
They're good word options. They're in the vocabulary for a reason. Yeah. So this idea of why we don't look or why we don't, I think I remember I can think of like movies that show like women's in the 70s, women's groups and like women holding hand mirrors and like spreading their legs.
Yeah,
but
like
I haven't
Beauty
seen
Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like, and what's the version?
I'm sure there's all kinds of women's health books and all of here.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
It's a great library.
That's columns.
I love it.
I know we haven't built a shelf yet, but that's okay.
So
beautiful. What a library. But so to modern day though, I'm thinking about like, you need like a full mirror wall and like the ability to sit, spread, and like what kind of angles, we have selfie cameras, but what kind of angles do we need to set up for people to really get to investigate? I heard that if you go through a certain training, you can opt to help give yourself your cervical exam. Do you know if this is true from your experience as a nurse practitioner?
Do you mean cervical exam or like we let people put if they want put the speculum in themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
And I definitely have shown people like a mirror. Sometimes it can be really hard to see your cervix. I'm just going to be,
I imagine it's up there.
You have to have like a light, and then sometimes we'll get up the mirror, and then like the light will come back on the mirror or the speculum because it's metal, and it's just like I'm blinding people. So it can be a little tricky in the clinical space, but at home, if someone had a speculum and a light and a mirror, I think they would be able to see what they could. I don't know if they would get to the cervix. They probably need some help. Right. I don't know. I've never put a speculum in myself, but I have ultrasounded myself.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
I would
when I got pregnant, I would always just like run in between patients and be, you're not supposed to ultrasound.
Right.
But I'd be like, hey, is it still happening? Am I still pregnant?
Yeah. I love that. We had a friend that did that too. I love it.
I want to go back and do it in the clinical space just to hear again, because one time there was like an auditory connection and I got to hear the sound from your ovaries. And then someone was telling me it's probably just the blood swooshing by, but that there was like a different sort of sound near the ovary.
You do get a lot of bowel sounds. Are you sure?
I don't know. It sounded pretty magical. It sounded positive.
Yeah.
I do have a hemorrhoid right now.
I think that bowel sounds are I do think mouth sounds are magical.
I like that.
Great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I do often think about where I'm off, but I've heard that the intestine's never not moving. It's like a snake that's always a little bit moving. Have you ever thought never not moving? What? Oh.
I think about that with our organs in general because, like, obviously they're like connected, but like because I do. Well, I'm not performing ultrasounds all the time anymore because I'm virtual, but I'm like reading them to our patients. But when I was doing ultrasounds, or when you're just like reading the ultrasound, a lot of times it'll be like patient like obstructed by gas or obstructed, and you might not even know that you're gassy, but it's like. It's kind of because, like, yes, your uterus is connected, but it's also just like...
It's like just floating, right? Like, I mean...
Yeah, it's like floating, not floating, right? Yeah.
Well, not all around our body like they thought hysteria was. Yeah. But remember this, I'm seeing online a lot now how this is, like, incorrect. This is if it was splayed, the way that you'd, like, splay a chicken to cook it. Do you know what I mean? This is, it's actually curled up. The arm sides are, like, curled. Underneath.
Yeah, it's like, when you're sleeping, I don't know, I sleep
like
always
this.
Like this. It's like your pillow. Yeah, exactly. I always give this is the camera's too small, but I always make my little uterus with my,
Yeah.
But it's really, real crumpled.
Yeah.
It's like shriveled.
Yeah. So it's interesting to think about that in our guts. Yeah, what's there?
Yeah, I was just saying your version, what you just showed is like the spatchcocked version. That's where like they...
Yeah, totally. That's amazing. It totally is.
Jay Rich, do you know what I'm talking about? You don't know what spatchcocks mean.
I'll Google it.
So it's when they like remove the spine of the chicken. Like you get a whole chicken and you can remove part of it and then it lays flat.
Yeah.
We just had spatchcocked chicken last week for the holiday over the grill, and that's what's happening.
Oh my God,
spatchcock. And you can kind of spatchcock like anything. You do that with a lot of things.
I only know about chicken. I am new to. I didn't even do it. I just know the term. I just love it. I think it's a great term, and that's what it reminded me. We were like, it is all smoosh, but then here it's flat.
Yeah, you just like.
Yeah, you just smoosh it.
#spatchcocked uterus. No, that's awful. But that's what we've been looking at.
It's totally what it is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There it is. Our little friend.
I'm feeling like my little uterus self now.
I know. I'm like, am I gassy now or am I like...
Yes. Or
there's all kinds of feelings right now with my uterus. No, I don't know. Just hearing about like spatchcocked and bowel sounds.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit of both.
Same. Me too over here.
Constantly moving a little bit.
So maybe I am getting my period or cycle.
Yeah. Could be. It's happening.
Well, I definitely
I'll never know, like and that's what I love.
Yes. The mystery.
No period, no problems. That's my motto.
Nice.
There might be more money, more problems. No period, no problems for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I have no period, have problems. Because
less problems.
Less problems.
No period, less problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but you don't bleed and do you still get PMS?
Sometimes. But it happens before ovulation. I get real sassy before ovulation. It's like everything from
sassy all the time.
It well, I mean, I am sassy. It gets a little extra before. Yeah, I get real spicy before and then I'm like
from mild to medium. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's medium to really spicy.
Sure.
Yeah. So but so that's the only thing that happens for me. But I love that. Like, no period is a blessing, for sure. Yeah, privilege.
The real privilege is to know what's happening in your body, and thanks to shows like Flow, and thanks to amazing, engaging entertainment content accounts like Paloma Fairfax, we are on our way to a world where it's not so hard to access. But we do need people to continue to contribute stories, to contribute to listen, to contribute to give feedback on what's working, to contribute to, follow Paloma Fairfax, see where she's going.
Yeah.
We hope to continue to have you back. Is there anything else you'd like to share with listeners, either looking back on your younger self, time travel-wise? It's one of the questions we leave with sometimes. What you would tell yourself, or with a little one, what you think she should know, knowing there's going to be more education available. Is there anything in particular you'd tell the next generation?
God. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to like go down a doomsday thing. I'm really trying not to because of all the,
Yeah.
We know.
I
don't know what I'm going to tell my 3-year-old. I'm not there yet. I'm like still in denial that I'm a mom, please. So there's that. And then I was thinking about this. What would I tell myself like when I got my period, or what would I tell? I don't know. Honestly, going back to Marina, I would tell myself when I got my period that I'll be like, that's okay. I'm going to get a Mirena when I'm 16 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it. They don't pay me to say all this, but I swear to God, it has been such a life-changing thing for me. As someone who like suffers from terrible cramps, terrible PMDD, I don't have that. I don't have that. Like I don't like half of my month is not just like angry or uncomfortable or like bleeding to death.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have Paragard for 9 years. That's part. But so, you know, because I didn't want hormones. That's what I would say.
Whoa.
Hormones are okay. And I do think that hormones, like I love birth control for so many more reasons than preventing pregnancy, even though obviously I'm really grateful for the amount of pregnancies we've prevented, unwanted pregnancies we've prevented. But for the things that it can do, aside from that, I'm very grateful. And I would say, don't be scared of hormones. To myself. When I'm
that.
Does that mean?
No, I think that's great. I love that.
But also totally cool. If you want to bleed naturally,
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy. But you don't have to. Like it's a choice. Like we can actively make that decision now, right? Like I like that idea of like I can get an IUD when I'm 16 if I want, and that's great. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. I think I was just scared of hormones forever. That's why I got a Paragard, and then I got the Mirena. I'm like, wait, what was I scared of? Having a real normal life.
Yeah.
So
Paragard for 9. Ooh. That's a long time.
And Paragard, and then so that didn't help any symptoms, is what you're saying? The Paragard didn't help any.
The Paragard, no. Paragard just made Paragard. The copper. I should have never got it, but I did, and it's because I didn't want hormones in my body. I just wanted to prevent from pregnancy, and instead, the copper just induced a ton of bleeding and a lot of cramping. And I will never forget during my New York days, which were so fun and I think so fondly of, my roommate had like a surgery or something and she gave me a Percocet, whatever she had, a painkiller, and it did not do anything. And I have like, and I'm very, I take ibuprofen, but not really used to, it did zero. I'm like, okay, it's time to get it out.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So I did. That's all.
That's a suffering journey that too many menstruators have gone through, the receiving of the copper IUD and the removal because of all the pain and suffering that is induced. It is quite awful.
Right. Or if you like, what if you don't have that, but you have fibroids or endometriosis or something?
Right.
I mean, people live like that without the Paragard, and it's just like,
it's mind-boggling.
Really helpful.
Yeah.
We suffer.
And that we suffer. And the PMDD, as you mentioned, would you open to speak about PMDD and what your, like how many years you, I guess, had to suffer with it before you found the hormonal solution?
So I think I diagnosed myself with PMDD because I was just doing this for Paloma Fairfax and I had to look at the actual criteria for it, which is just like, I mean, any person, I would just say this, any patient who's like, I have this, this, and this, I'm like, yep, you have PMDD. Like that is, if you feel that shitty, that is not normal.
Right.
Okay. It is not normal to have, you have to have like so many, emotional but also physical symptoms to like meet the criteria. There's like 4 out of 5 and then 1 out of 5. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think that I just thought I was like an emotional person, and I really, I'm just like, well, I'm Latina and I'm supposed to be angry when I'm angry and when I bleed or I don't know. I just I was on birth control when I was really young, and my mom was like, oh, honey, it's like making you kind of crazy. You shouldn't be on hormones. And I just didn't want to put hormones in my body. But they're okay.
Yes.
I actually think hormones can kind of make you a little crazy when you're younger for sure. But that's like your frontal cortex isn't even developed. Like there's so much other stuff that's going on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But as a 42-year-old woman on my 3rd IUD, let me just tell you, I'm going to keep this on with this and a low-dose SSRI. I'm going to sail through menopause.
Same. You and I are on the same train. That I say it to everyone as same age, same thing. Love it. It's the best combo ever. Love it.
We're going to dance along and follow along and get to hear as much as you're willing to share. Thank you so much for being an open book, an open beacon for all your audience and listeners and patients, of which I got to be both. We hope you all follow along to Paloma Fairfax. Check out the links in the show notes for everything and every way to get connected. Let us know how you're flowing. We mean it. There's a Calendly link in there to let us know how your flow is going. And we'll see you next month. We'll dance off to the music or your theme song, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Flow is produced by Bloodstream Media. Big shout out to our creative director, Amy Board, and our editor, Kay Vermeil. New episodes of Flow will be available the second Thursday of every month.
Hey, that's the day after I start menstruating.
And thanks to our sponsor, Takeda, for their support of Flow.